Greetings of peace with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. I'm Martha Nyla Williams Abdullah. I'm your host for CWSC Strategic Planning. Today is Thursday. It is the fifth day of the week of the strong end. It is the fifth day. And the fifth day, let me go to the number five, and we may have something that we connect with on the number five. But we want to say what number five means to the Muslim community. I mean, we have our five daily prayers, but every human being can relate to prayer. Every human being can relate to its five senses: to hear, see, feel, think, to hear, see, taste, touch, and what's the fifth one? Hear, see, taste, touch, and feel. Feel is touch, isn't it? Well, you see the chart there, the United States of America, the beautiful coloration of it. We're united. We're united on principles, and the principle is one God, one humanity. Yes. And the principle, there's another principle, and that principle is seek to do no harm. We used to have that connected with just the medical. Uh, I say just the medical because it was in my mind, just the medical community. Seek to do no harm. But when we think about peace, the underlying action is do no harm. It means be at peace. Say that which is best. Otherwise, stay quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet in your actions, in our actions. Not give a facial expression that says, uh, that indicates that I'm upset. Facial expression to anyone. It's one thing if I'm alone and I give that facial expression, but don't practice. I shouldn't practice that facial expression and then share it with someone else because then I'm not carrying peace. I'm causing discomfort. That's just a facial expression. Goes on to the words that we speak. The principle is seek to do no harm. No harm mentally, no harm physically, no harm spiritually. Seek to do no harm. So when we speak in the areas of education, economics, governance, and sociocultural, and we seek to do no harm using that principle, mm, oh, what a peaceful world this will be. Louis Armstrong sang it, and we can carry it like a tune in our life. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. In my mind, I'm carrying a wonderful world. In your mind, you're carrying a wonderful world, and we connect. What a wonderful world. So you see the unity, the united intention, United States. It's united. We have the same assets: people, land. People carry a lot of assets. People have the assets of being able to hear, see, feel, and think, and apply the use of that to for food, clothing, and shelter. And then live by the principle, seek to do no harm. Someone has put a sign to say this is their property. This is the property that they're going to live within this space. And they're going to maintain this space. They're going to, and what does that mean? Maintain this space. They're going to care for any overgrowth, anything that indicates that this space is being wasted. It can be made useful when no one is there. It can be made useful. It can be the land where we can plant food, plants that produce clothing, the cotton, the silk, those plants. that produce that can produce have let bees live there on that land, and they can produce honey and the extract whatever we make from the honey. Uh, Someone agriculturally can grow things there for food purposes and to share it. The thinking will bring about. The thinking is a machine operating all the time. The thinking, 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 and the Creator has given us that ability so that we can always think how to seek to do no harm. How can we seek to do have peace at all times? So I help you, you help me. I help you, you help someone else. You help me, I help someone else. Seek to do no harm. Right, right. All right. So we're here, and the this is the strategic planning process, and I believe we have someone here with us, Imam Askil Muhammad Akir. Is it Assalamu alaikum? Unmute yourself, Imam Askil. Unmute yourself. Give the greetings here to the CWSC Strategic Planning, our organizational relationships. We're, we're sharing in the idea of being organized for a purpose and connecting with those of like minds who have the intent and the willingness to participate in seeking to do no harm. We were just speaking about the principles. We see the United States pattern in our background here. See the United States, and the indication would be that we're united based upon our assets, our common asset, as being people. Then the understanding is being people that we are being human. And so we ask the question, what does being human mean to you? And at the same time, continue, we pray that you're being human, but you're seeking to do no harm. Therefore, you are promoting peace and unity. And unity is the work, because we know that we all have a common uh, threat. And that threat is uh, that which will exploit peace. And we know how that happens. We get frustrated, we become angry. So our strategic planning includes relationships, relationship building, and we're communicating now with organizers, organizational leaders who are utilizing the same uh, principle. May not verbalize it the same way, but using the same principle, seek to do no harm. And that shows up in education, economics, governance, sociocultural. And we have many entities that are operating as we speak. Again, I'm here at the South Branch Library in St. Petersburg, Florida. And this morning, our guest for the Interfaith Tampa Bay was Chief uh, Holloway. Chief Holloway. And he explained to us that their purpose in seeking to do no harm, their purpose is to enforce the law. So the lawmakers, okay, the lawmakers are those that uh, and the lawmakers are those that hand the laws over to the enforcers of the law. The lawmakers become the citizens are the ones who elect the lawmakers. Then the lawmakers make the laws and hand them over to the law enforcers, and the law enforcers take those laws right back into the citizenry. So the citizenry elect the lawmakers proceed the laws on over to process the laws and ask that they be carried out by the law enforcers. And that's within the makeup of those who elected those who made the laws. So now we have a law, open carry. And as Chief Holloway shared with us, just because now that it has become quote unquote a law, guns were present all along. Carrying of concealed weapons. So what makes it different when you say open carry? He said, in any situation, in my words, paraphrasing what he shared, but staying connected to what he really said. And that is the responsibility is great. So, as organizational leaders connect with one another to do the work to help individuals throughout the country or the states or the cities or the counties where we all live, our purpose is uh, to live by the principle, the overall principle, seek to do no harm. So we're striving to maintain the peace. Now, the law enforcers are also striving to maintain the peace based upon those laws that have been erected, uh, not by them, but by the lawmakers. So, what are our rights and our responsibilities? How do we maintain being human and understand that means we're to be responsible for being educated on the laws. So the chief Holloway said he was not the one to explain the law to us, uh, but just to explain to us how they're going to carry out, how they understand the law and their responsibility to carry it out. That should any citizen carrying a gun, concealed or open, but definitely concealed, you're not going to be twirling it around or brandishing it, sharing it as a threat to anyone, or letting everyone know, oh, look, I have this gun and I'll use it if I need to, or what, like giving attention to it. He used the word reckless. So individuals cannot be reckless. Just know that. Be responsible. What does that responsibility look like again? Don't be reckless. Don't commit an act of violence. Don't make any threats. Be careful of what we say. Practice, practice, practice. Seeking to do no harm is a practice of carrying out the peace, carrying the peace, being carriers of the peace. And we're speaking PEACE. Should you be carrying a peace, a carrier of the peace, PIECE, which a gun has been identified as a peace in some instances. There are already laws concerning knives. There are laws concerning any act that can be identified as a threat. Words can become a danger and it become incriminating to others. It can become uh, injurious, I should say, to others. We could speak words of anger to the point that it causes fear in someone. An example was given this morning, asked by one of our faith representatives. A young man goes into a bank, tells the teller I have a gun. Give me, and went on to ask for money. The teller then believes the threat, gives the money. The individual gets caught, gets arrested based upon having a firearm. Some will say he did not have a gun. He used the threat that he had one. Should he be placed under arrest? Should he serve time based upon being armed and dangerous? And the police chief said in the arresting process, it is perceived that he has a gun, that he had a gun, and that he was willing to use it. So their process of that is treat it as danger to themselves as well. Make the arrest, leave it to the lawmakers, leave it to the judge, leave it to the state attorney, leave it to the public defenders, leave it to them to unravel everything. But from the police and law enforcement, the enforcing of it, they enforce the law based upon the threat that was given. Take it as though, take their word for it. I have a gun, take my word for it, and then I will have to, the consequences then will be as such based upon my threat. Um, Based upon intention in other situations, someone carrying and having an open carry going on, meaning they're carrying a weapon, a gun, handgun, and they're under the age of 21, they can be arrested carrying a gun and they're under the age of 21. And he didn't say this, but I know in the college situation last year, the occurrence that happened in Tallahassee and found that the mother of the young man who used the gun, the mother was a police officer. Their son had attended. He was striving to become a. He worked with the community officers and all of that, and he used his mother's weapon, her mother's handgun, to carry out certain acts. Now, there are other situations where children, and we have a situation in my distant family member whose son, 14, 15 years old, used his father's gun. Father had gun privileges to carry it concealed. Son got hand of it, used it. The father also was um, accountable, responsible for the son's actions, plus the son responsible for their actions. So it goes back to the laws on the books, how the laws are written by those whom we have elected to conscionably write the laws. So everyone, as we are connecting CWSC strategic planning, 50 states strong, and we are forming alliances. And in forming alliances, that means there are people to people. We're communing and we're assuming a lot, taking much for granted. So in the boardrooms or in the community rooms where we're discussing situations and we're on the preventive end as well, we want to at least be tied, have a tie, a unite, a unity that we are working towards maintaining the peace. Seek to do no harm. Yes, that is important in the medical field, medical area, social cultural. Medical comes under the social cultural. Medical laws are There, there's the Good Samaritan law. And the principle of that is be a good servant, right? Be a good servant. A good Samaritan, be a good servant. You see someone in need and you have the knowledge of what their needs are at that moment, at critical moment, then uh, uh, we provide what is necessary for that moment. You need to provide cardiopulmonary resuscitative actions. Then you do that. That's CPR. You're to provide bandaging of head injury or any broken limb injury, any injury. You're to seek to stop the blood flow, the loss of blood. Seek to band that wounded area where the bones can be kept straight or kept in shape and connected. Whatever it takes in that critical moment. It's not a moment to think, but it's a moment wherein you have applied practice. Those in the medical field, you have applied the practice. How many compressions you do? How many breaths do you give? How do you check to see if the person is breathing? Can you hear it? Can you see the chest up and down? Is breathing going on? If so, then you don't need to do the compressions. You don't need to do the two, three, the breaths, two breaths, and look and listen. Look for the chest to rise. Listen for the breath coming through the nostrils. If it hasn't happened, do it in so many seconds. That's CPR. Now, what is the CPR for an argument that is going on? What is the CPR? Be caring, be compassionate, but be uh, purposeful. Be caring, compassionate, be purposeful. And last but not least, be respectful. So when you seek to do no harm, when an argument is going on, the dictates of what ethnicity they are, that's not going to dictate the compassion, the purpose, being purposeful and being respectful. The dictate right then is seek to establish the peace once again. So in CWSC strategic planning and our organizational relationships, it is all about forming alliances to seek to do no harm. When we speak about community life and we survey the communities, we seek to do no harm as the respective ethnic groups are diversely coordinated throughout the city. Our approach then, organizational alliances, our approach is, are they receiving, do an assessment, are they receiving food, clothing, shelter? And if not, why not? If so, is it through the means of the opportunities that are available, or have they had to fight to get food? Assess it, discuss. We're open to discussing it. This is what Shura allows us to understand. Shura is a process that we get from our emotions of what ideas are in our head to an action that is concrete enough, that it is stable minded enough, that it is organized enough, that we're all reaching that peaceful state of being and achieving what we started off being emotional about. whatever raise our emotions to the point that we become frustrated, that we become aggravated, and we become angrily involved with one another, there has to be that CPR moment, compassion or caring, purposeful and respectful. That's the CPR for the human relations. And we can say there's CPR where as it relates to whatever relations, parent child. But before we get to the child, parents. How are parents relating to one another? How are male female relations? Introduce the CPR so that will, our heart will benefit from that CPR, compassion, caring. Our lungs will benefit from that CPR. We will be purposeful. Our breaths are purposeful for life. And then the connection, the combination, our mind, our heart, our lungs, all total together, connected, is the respect that we give to the Creator, thanking the Creator for what we have, that we all have hearts, lungs, and our brain, our mind, our brain that needs, our brain needs the working together of our hearts and our lungs. CPR. So CWSC, again, in its strategic planning, emphasizing on the unity that is expressed in the United States of America, and that we are 50 states strong, forming alliances, and we are planning 50 years ahead. But we have to take these steps to appreciate where we are, what we are, how we are, keeping our finger on the pulse of seeking to do no harm. As long as we seek to do no harm, then we will be of benefit to all of humanity. So praise be to Allah. Let's see if I have anyone else here online. We were looking to have connect with us. Ms. Burrell, and let me share her card with you here. And that way you can understand. Okay. Because work goes on, and this is in the busy day work time of everyone. This is where my work takes place, that I'm able to go out and visit with and get the work done of CWSC. Pinellas County, they're located, the disaster of Pinellas County Disaster Relief Area 10750, Almaton Road, Building 1, Suite 267. Largo, Florida 33778, disaster.pinellas.gov. And in a moment, I'll send the connection to her there. Maybe that's where she is. We were at the Albert Whitted Airport this morning, as you can, I don't know if you can see that, that's where we took. Her name is Mary Burrell. She is of the Whole Community Engagement Program. She's the engagement program lead. Let me turn it this way now. Mary Burrell, Whole Community Engagement Program lead, emergency management. These are the contact numbers: 464 3815, and the main number, then the cell number. Ah, let me see here. I need to send that to 0503 272 0503. One moment, everyone. While I stop my 272 0503, where I send her a text, which I had sent, but it was to the wrong area. I mean, direct number, but 272 0503. 2053. Let's see. And perhaps she didn't get it at that main number. I considered sending it to the main number, but we shall see. Between 4 and 6, we hope to have both or either or um, our dear brother Frank Tedesco, who's of the Buddhist community, but he's human, right? And seek to do no harm is a principle for us all. And keeping the peace, I'm sure he would agree that CPR that we do functionally on our physical self to and the purpose is to keep the blood flowing and make sure the blood and the oxygen makes it to the brain. And so the oxygen, hmm, my mind is going somewhere else with oxy. Uh, but that from the farthest to the central is what is it is the principle of our being seeking to do no harm. We're seeking peace. So to seek that, we've gone to the farthest area here to the brain, but we come back to what is considered central, and that is the heart and the lungs working together. All right, the mercy, we have to be impart mercy by being compassionate, being purposeful, peaceful, but purposeful in the moment that frustration, anger, aggravation is present. We want to leave from that extreme and move everybody's emotions to the center. That means calming down. But we have to be purposeful about that. We have to use words that will calm a person down. Don't be don't be so obvious that you're just being a what's the word? You're patronizing. Don't be so patronizing. Be caring, and it will come through the way we use our words. Be compassionate. An example is that we don't come adding fuel to the fire, yelling. uh, we may see that we have to get the attention of those involved and perhaps just showing up. But if you've been involved in the moment, the heat of the moment, and we use those words, the heat of the moment is that there's a cooling that needs to happen. But how does it happen? Have you been involved in a heated moment? Have you formed alliances to the point that someone can step in and you respect happens right then? Your respect for them, what they mean to you, will allow you to calm down. Can you sit down? Can you sit down? Can you begin to take deep breaths? Can you begin to cry even? Because we know crying, at the time of crying, we're letting go. The hurt has come so up in ourselves that we will find ourselves crying. Someone will say, "I'm so mad," and then you are not present. You are in the background. That that fired up passion is can get you in trouble. Most of the time, it gets us in trouble. And so to practice practice seeking to cause no harm, starting with our thoughts, starting with the words we use, continuing with our actions, continuing with our connections that we make, continuing with our communication skills that we have to put in practice, continuing with our collaboration with others, our connecting, because this happens in organizations. It happens in one-on-one relationships, and it happens in two, three, four relationships. We forget the principle, seek to do no harm, that we're about the peace. And in order to have that peace, then we we can we can pretend, but that pretension will fade away when we become agitated, aggravated, because our ideas, our thinking is not being entertained by the group. Yes. Or we are patronized and we know we're being patronized because of the words, how the words sound, the tone that is used. We know when we're patronizing someone else. We know when we're just outright fibbing. Yeah, I'm going to use that simple word, fib, telling a fib. We're fabricating the truth. It's a fib. So praise be to Almighty God. We're thankful to be able to take these moments, CWSC, the Community Wide Shore Conference, allow anyone to come in, come on, connect with us. We're live on air, and it is intentional because we know that so much is going on that we want to be an instrument that helps bring our thinking to a point that we understand that what we're doing, whatever you are doing, know that it must be something that's helpful, especially when you have concerns about what is you have concerns about the rate of the cost of things. You have a concern about everyone having access to true education, academically, and education about the nature, about the globe, about the climate, about the insects and the benefits of the insects and the animals and the trees and how the trees help and all of the information that we have in our midst, but when it's put into a certain organized manner and we study it, then it becomes more of a benefit. So likewise with organizations, we had to come to realize that in our organization, it's one thing to now I'm going on the into the conversation about forming alliances, but strategically understanding our organizations and how we are formed, and that we pay attention to those that are helping, whether they're paid or volunteers or no matter that's not the main focus. The main focus is, are they receiving the information will help them be at the give of themselves to the best that they can give. That means their contribution is valued. But to make their contribution be valued, they need information. And when they're not getting the particular information in an organized way, then it affects the whole. All right. And just to come be able to come to that conclusion, just to have that, make that observation, the blessing from the Creator. And so, for all of us who are of an organization, let's just assess ourselves, assess what our goal is, and our goal for CWSC is to remake the world into a better place. And then we have a mission of how to do that. That we do the research, and in our research, that also has brought us to the point of, in order to remake the world, you need people, and people have their assets, and to use their assets, we have to acknowledge the people and their assets. And in acknowledging it, we have to, whatever we can call a reward, but recognition, definitely. But every person that contributes to the makeup of the organization, and then making every person that has willingly volunteered to be a part of this organization, that they know the very structure of the organization. They know the ins and the outs, we say, but that means that they know the overall bylaws. The purpose of the bylaws is one thing, but to apply those bylaws, use those bylaws, live by those bylaws, those are by laws. They can be amended. The overall law is seek to do no harm, but the bylaws are of connected to that, there are ways that we can seek to do no harm. So that means that we have a process in place to identify those who, first with the structure, following the structure, the articles of incorporation, incorporate, have a director, executive director, you have a treasurer, secretary, having those body parts in place. Then those body parts have duties. And those duties then are carried out in a certain way. That there may be twice a year that you meet, or 3 or 4 times a year that you meet. Stay true to those duties, the outline of the bylaws. Everyone should be aware of that, because has then it's easier for others to become those members, those directors, because they have a knowledge of the makeup and the reason they agree with your purpose. Your remake the world. That sounds good, but they want to, at the same time, their contribution, whatever contribution it is, they're agreeing to that remake the world. Okay, that distant vision. And then when it gets closer to themselves, the mission, to realize that they have to impart, we have to impart what our expertise is in order to be a part of remaking the world. But when my part is felt not valued, when I don't feel that my part, my contribution, once a year, even twice a year, whatever time that I'm aligned with the duties, as if I'm a secretary of the board, or secretary of a certain committee, or and my part is ad hoc. I'm not necessary. I'm not needed every part of the year. But whenever my part is to be, that it is just as vital as the board of directors, and should be appreciated as such. So every organization, that's what we're asking the question to, in our alliances, to our alliances, CWSC. CWSC is in the midst of doing exactly what we're discussing, appreciating, recognizing that every person connected with CWSC, that there's an opportunity for them to learn the structure, understand the structure, connect with the history, and so that they can have a respect for the history, that they have a respect for the construct, that they have a respect for, I'm speaking of those who come to volunteer, they have a respect for it, for those who have given of their time to make sure that we're that giving us the time to make sure that CWSC is presented at its best and that it is at the same time transparent, that it shares when it's at its worst or not so. That's not good. I wouldn't say not so best, but I pray that you're understanding what we're sharing. All right. All right. So organizationally, let's connect and stay connected. Our mutual alliances would be by way of our vision and our mission. We want to be here for you. I'm going to take a pause here. Okay. Speaking then and wasn't really coming through. So I hope, well, it will tell. All right, let's go. That's 8. That's 4.
That's what? He said time is motion. So work is key in this whole discipline process because you have to have discipline to hang in there till you make progress. That's all right. We are the new founders. We're the new government. We're in charge. But I say we're in charge of this mess. Okay? Nothing exists, not the building, anything.
One moment.
We decide we want to.
One moment. Just want to make sure that you're able to hear. Okay, I'm going to mute myself.
Our community or mass or whatever our language is. So we said to ourselves, well, we gotta have some structure. All right? So, what would we be, what would we be doing? What would we do? And well, let's say this here. We all say this here, somebody may say, well, we need a leader, right? They always say. Okay, but I'm just saying, but that's the kind of thing, we're gonna say we need a leader. That's true. I mean, because we're building structure, right? Okay, we need a leader. So, we all sit down and we pick somebody, all right? So, let's say that's the imam, right? We're gonna say, okay, we're gonna pick an imam, all right? So, from there, are we finished?
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been one of our problems. You said we need a leader because we're looking at structure for an organization.
Mhm.
And you said we picked the leader and he was the imam. But we need more than imams as leaders.
There you go. I'm saying,
It didn't have
I'm just
necessarily.
I'm trying to
I
get
know, but it didn't have necessarily.
this dialogue, I'm trying to get a
Yeah.
dialogue going.
We leaped from leader to Imam, and
Well, I mean.
you could have said
well,
chief accountant, but you said Imam because that's the paradigm
well,
that we've
yeah,
had, and I'm
that's
glad
the
you said it. I'm
That's
glad
the
you said
paradigm
it.
we normally have,
That
but
we
that's,
normally have.
but that's what I'm trying to ask you. Where where does this go? What would you? I'm trying to get us to talk about structure and the structure of the way. Okay, and I'm trying to get you to say to me, because I think here's one of our problems right now, just what we're doing right now. We're all get together and we use terms, but nobody knows how to define the term.
Inshallah. Not nobody, but some of us too.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Well, right now, we're all in this room,
Okay.
okay? Go ahead. Mark.
Okay, now, if I was talking about structure for my business,
Mhm.
I would have an attorney.
Okay.
Depending on whoever, how many was participating in that business.
Okay.
Someone would be president, vice president, chairman, vice chair, committees, things of that nature.
Mhm.
To me, that's what structure is, you
All
know.
right, so,
And then you have to have bylaws or some type of laws to govern that body, some kind of governance body.
But I think the important
I'm
point
gonna call
is
that order.
you got that from somewhere, didn't you? I mean, the things that you just said, you didn't pull out of thin air.
No,
You got that as a result of what?
business,
And you looked at, you must have saw something else operating.
yes.
Okay. So here we have, and I'm just gonna use this position. First thing he said is we have to have certain positions. Obviously, he thinks he needs certain skill levels. He said lawyer, this, that, and the other,
Yes.
okay? And order, I'm gonna say that's the bylaws or, you know, that kind of a thing.
We have new bylaws here.
All
We
right.
have new bylaws.
Now, but depending on what it is, do we really need bylaws or we don't need bylaws?
You definitely need new bylaws.
We definitely
We
need
struggled-
bylaws?
We struggled here to get new bylaws for a year.
Mhm.
It was a slow process until we got the bylaws.
Okay.
We got the new bylaws approved by the Secretary of State, Elaine Marshall and Raleigh. Then things started to come together.
Right. Well, it depends.
Okay.
Well, we
So-
call it rules of the game, rules. You need
Okay, yeah.
All the land as well.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
but now,
what we call about.
so we got position, let's assume, go with what my brother here said, what's your name again?
Naeem
Naeem,
Sabir.
Naeem said.
From Detroit.
Okay, I'm gonna get a lawyer, I got an accountant, whatever, or maybe a president, like you said right now, okay?
Secretary.
So, we know those terms, and we can kind of begin to say, out of all those terms or positions he just named, so who is, let's say, who's directing the show? Out of those positions he just said.
Well, why does it have to be, well, it doesn't have to be limited to those individuals.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just trying to use this
Yeah,
to move us forward.
yeah.
I'm just saying that, he said there's some positions, because, you know what I'm saying, there still is. If we all left here tonight, and let's say we agree that we need structure,
And we do.
okay? And we all get back here tomorrow morning. We have agreement for structure, right? But tomorrow morning, when we get back here, now somebody wants to begin to build structure. And somewhat the same kind of a way. Maybe he'll say this, he'll say that. We've never figured out what we really needed here. I mean, one, there's nothing wrong with structure, but it may be putting the cart before the horse, because we really haven't, we can say we're investigating what we want, and let's say we're trying to discover, but do we really know what the purpose of the organization is yet? Have we really defined the purpose of the organization? So then you can say, well, I don't know if we need those positions. I don't know either, because I don't know what the purpose of the organization is. Okay? So what is the purpose? What is going to be the purpose of the organization?
Okay, Brother Lester speaking here. Just because we have a group of people doesn't mean that we have an organization.
That's the doctor talking.
And so, yeah, basically, that's the question I want to raise, because we've gone through all of these different stages of arrivals, positions, skills, all of that, and we're really at the point of simply having a group of people, in my opinion. That's where we are. We have a bunch of people. It might be dozens, it might be hundreds, it might be thousands or millions. It's a bunch of people. And who may not all have the same goals, aims, desires, who might be using the same words and mean completely different things.
Right.
So, I think it still stands, though.
You would have to have your goals and objectives, you know. What are
we
we
need
trying
goals.
to
We
get?
need goals and objectives.
Goals and objectives.
Okay. I mean, clearly the list can be quite long, but my purpose is trying to say, we use a term and still, look how long it takes us to try to define it and try to figure out what do we all mean, even though, say, the majority of them agree that we have to have structure. Okay? Oh, I thought you get, you give me 30 seconds. It's okay, you might not. But
And that's Dr. Muhammad, that's who that is.
so, do you understand what I'm saying? But do you understand what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to push?
Yes.
So what I'm just trying to say is, when we get into shorter and discussing, we're going to use a lot of terms, but who knows what it means? And we're the definer of them.
Yeah.
Okay? And we're not always clear among ourselves about what we mean.
Okay, let's, go ahead.
Yeah, Adam.
Something like Adam Dion. Are we assuming that everybody's on the same page?
Well, on structure, yes. On structure, not anywhere, just on structure.
Because I'm looking at mission statement, vision statement. Then once you get that straight, then you have to have buy-in. Now, assuming there's buy-in, then you deal with structure. Okay, but if we haven't got to the point of, and I think that's half the problem.
Because
Most of the people don't know where we're going.
Because at that
or
level,
saying,
you're defining the purpose, the mission.
you're right.
Mission and
That, to
vision.
me, that has to come first.
Yeah, and that's what I kept trying to say.
What he's
We don't-
saying is form follows function.
We have to figure out what is the purpose. All right? Is it, you know, the purpose could be, but I'm not saying, just to collect Zaka. Okay? But I think that what he's saying is, we have to start asking ourselves again, what is the mission? What is the vision? And whatever, okay? So I'm just trying to say to you and us that as we move forward,
Oh, you get the call.
begin to think about who is, begin to think about definitions, you know. Here's what I mean by that. I say this, but what do I mean by that? Okay? So that we can move the agenda, I guess, to some degree. Because otherwise, again, we'll leave here and tomorrow morning we'll all be back to discussing structure all over again.
No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna solve it today.
Well, I hope not. I'm just using it as an example. I'm not trying to solve it right now, to be honest with you.
I'm trying to.
I just wanted to use it as a lesson to say, in the future, when certain things you're gonna say, you need to already be thinking to yourself to say, I'm gonna need to tell you what I mean by that.
It's like, I believe Imam Muhammad, Master Oleg Saeed. See, number one, we have to believe in ourselves and believe in each other, brothers and sisters. Now, someone brought up the term Imam as leader. Clearly, the shura is what we need. Shura is really what we have in terms of leadership. And shura is what this is about, part of shura. And shura was given to us by Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad is, all right, Prophet Muhammad, but let me mention Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad is a solution. And he's shown us how to solve this. So the shura, out of the shura, that's where your leaders or your imam and these different categories that people come from. Because mutual consultation was in Al Quran. We make decisions based on mutual consultation from the Quran. For sure. Whether we sit in a circle or sit around a table.
What you're saying is true. I mean, it's the whole truth. But most imams, they won't call on business people and people who have these skills to help.
That's it, right there.
They won't do it, because I know that's what's going on in Detroit. You know.
Outside of masjid, there are legal entities, you can't enter into telling them what to do. We can make suggestions, we can make recommendations.
That's true.
But the masjid and its structure, or its shura, belongs to them.
Right. But my point is.
Not in this
My point is, you can't keep asking people to go into their pocket and donate, which we know we gotta pay zakat, that's one of the pillars. But in order to finance masjids, schools, it gotta go beyond your pocket. It gotta go in, businesses has to be established, you know. And that happens outside the masjid, you know. But still yet, there's some business that goes on in the masjid that I think he should call people together, assured together, to promote other things, you know, fundraisers and what have you. And I heard Brother Thomas say himself, everybody have dinners. You know? But we feed on each other. We never go outside the masjid to the broader community to engage them to support what we have to do.
Good one.
So let's enter into shura right now. Have a discussion about, when I say masjid, well, let's stop for Oscar, let's do that. Let's stop for Oscar. Didn't they say Oscar was in?
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay, well, let's stop for Oscar, and then when we come back, then let's start talking about some of these things, and see what kind of.
Don't let us wear you out now,
You can't wait. I heard him go 3 hours and then come back on the evening and go 3 more.
See, we know how to pump you up. That's what the pioneers do. Okay.
Let me cut this. Okay. Yeah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة
We're gonna ride back to Stockton.
حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
All right, we heard the Adhan, and just so happened that the coordinates of hearing the Adhan, we can hear that as time for Salat Asr here in St. Petersburg in the Tampa Bay area. Salat Asr is in. So what we're going to do is go to another phase of the discussion. And we intentionally shared, that was Thomas Abdul Salam, the founder for CWSC, the collaboration of the team that he's with there, Mukhtar Muhammad and Adam Biyah they became the signers on the corporate documents. So here we show 50 states strong, forming alliances, and through all of our connections, we come up those who connected from 2021 to now, and certain implementation took place last year, utilizing or adding the use of the Hijra calendar and the ascension of Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him, and how that relates to education in all the areas, economics, governance, and sociocultural. The education piece of everything, how that relates, and how we are always engaged in faith, family, fasting, function, and freedom, freeing our mind from whatever is keeping us away from doing what we know is best. Now you can see the states much clearer. As I stated, I'm here in Florida, and you can see where you are. And by way of manufacturing and agriculture and businesses, how connected are we? What are our products? What are we producing? And are we seeking to do no harm? Means from the production end to the deliverable end, the production of clothing, are we using dyes, DYES, that will cause harm to the skin? Are we using a process of that will cause contamination and that will then do harm for the breathing, the allergies that people have? Seek to do no harm in the food production, in the clothing production. Seek to do no harm in even the first production, and that is in the family life. A wonderful, praise be to God. How you doing? Yeah, pretty good. All right. Seek to do no harm in the family production. Yes, family production, that reproductive system. Seek to do no harm. Seek to do no harm by being a trustworthy person. Seek to do no harm by connecting and uh, showing, putting forth the trust factor that we understand that there needs to be something compatible to a maintenance for from the male to the female, securing safety and being concerned about the welfare of those whom the male will be placed over. And that's allowing peace to be maintained. That's in the family production, is what I'm speaking of. In the family production, it starts with the male and female having conversation, having conversation, and then that conversation turning into communication. And the communication is first things first, seek to do no harm. And so it becomes knowing the production starts with those who are in charge. Father, are you going to become a father? In order to become a father, then the mother, the female, will become a mother. And in doing so, there are practices that serve the community, serve society best, seek to do no harm. All right. So we see the states. We're going to go to another part. I didn't want to just have my face, my mouth showing there. All right. So let's go to another part of sharing from Thomas Abdul Salam. This is community-wide Shura conference, and we are conducting our strategic planning. And throughout the year, we will do strategic planning. And now that we have been formed and now that we have informed, we are being as transparent as we can be. And we are seeking those who are willing to volunteer their services to maintain and improve upon what CWSC is about. All right, let's see here. And we're going to go now to another presentation of the formation, the conversation from Thomas Abdul Salam and those involved with the discussion on CWSC. Just one moment, we'll go to number 6. Just come back from having a break. Let's see here. Hold on one moment. That's started. Let me go here to share my screen. One moment, everyone. And before I share my screen, let's see who has called in. Praise be to Allah. Before we, are there any comments that anyone want to make before we go? Listening to Thomas Abdul Salam, continuing on the discussion of CWSC and its formation, understand those in the room understanding establishing an organization, purpose, structure, bylaws, therefore making the connections. So let's go there. There aren't any comments. We'll continue on. Thank you everyone for being present. Alhamdulillah. I'm going on mute.
Expectations is because you're absolutely right. Every last one of us that's sitting here, I believe, has some level of frustration. That's one of the reasons that we're here. There's a level of frustration. At the same time, the reason why I brought up expectations is it's impossible, based on my knowledge of organizations and trying to get started from scratch. And I'm not saying we're starting from scratch, but this particular group is in fact starting from scratch. It's impossible to do that without first talking. You have to talk, but have a commitment to go beyond that so that you don't make the mistakes. And that's what I'm hoping that we can do. We're going to have to talk first to see how do we get on the same page, because that's been the problem. We're all somewhere, but we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page inside our mastheads. The man may not be on the same page with the Shura body. The Shura body not on the same page with man. The community is not on the same page with each other. And in fact, if y'all give me just a couple of minutes, since we got a little break here, we're going to eat.
Before you go, the food is ready, then I think we can go ahead and do that and then come back.
Okay, but let him go ahead and make his.
Dr. Lester and several people said some comments right after one another that had to do with, you mentioned, we don't see two people making prayer side by side. You felt like you were pulling in opposite directions, right? Just imagine this for a second. No, seriously, it gave me a simile. It gave me an idea in my head. Because part of the problem we're trying to get at is, why can't we achieve the success based on all this knowledge that we have? That's
Some more
really your issue.
Some more success.
Why is it? That's right. That's another thing we need to be careful of. Because this issue that we're talking about success inside our association, is the same issue that we talk about as African Americans. And we have a dichotomy. There's one extreme or another. Black people not making progress, or no, black people make plenty of progress.
Yeah.
Well, the story is in between. I'm sorry, Tom.
Well, I'm just gonna let you guys know, again, the food is out there. So
Okay, well, let's make it.
Okay.
So I don't want to hold you off from either.
Okay.
But so this story of
Can you
me.
bring that to the table?
Bring it to the table. We'll be right back. So this story of where we are as a community is the same story where we are as African Americans. Because it's difficult to talk about it because as soon as you say, if you express any level of dissatisfaction, somebody's liable to say, well, look, we've done this, or we've done that, or we've done that. And so we're not saying there's been no progress. What we're saying is it possible that we could be making a greater and accelerated level of progress given the resources that we have available to us, and given the climate that we're living in here in America right now.
Absolutely.
So this is what I thought about when I listened to Brother Lester. Thomas, where's the eraser? Anyway, I don't see an eraser. How was he taking it?
He's on the paper,
Go
he's
ahead and
not
talk.
on
I
the
get
board.
it. Go ahead and talk.
Okay,
He's strictly on the paper
it's
now.
on the paper. I'm going to use this board.
Yeah, go and use the board, use the board.
When Brother Lester mentioned prayer, if y'all think about it, if y'all think about it, we can use prayer. I'm going to take off. Oh, that won't come off. Will that come off? We need something wet. I'll go ahead and flip this. Can you imagine, just think for a second. We can use prayer as an example of what's wrong with us. Okay, now, let's look at Salat. Now, when we look at Salat, we have a procedure, we have structure, we have organization, and we have a leader. All of that is present in prayer, isn't it? Okay, but now, take a look at this now. There's congregational prayer, and then there's individual prayer, the Sunnah prayers, or Nafil prayer, whatever. There's congregational prayer and there's individual prayer. Now, this procedure and the structure and the organization and the leader, where did all that come from? I mean, did you make it up? No sure body had to make that up. Am I correct?
Right.
That was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. All right, now. So this is not, we don't question these things. We don't question that you line up. We don't question Allahu Akbar. We don't question the takbir. We don't question the movements. And that was God, that was revealed from Almighty God, either himself directly or through the Prophet Muhammad. But now let me ask you a question. And by the way, the leader of prayer, you ever notice? That's the one thing brothers don't argue about. Have you noticed that, Peter? It would be a real trouble. People start arguing. No, I'm going to lead the prayer. No, I'm going to lead the prayer. You ever notice that? That is never argued about. The brothers just, don't you see that all the time? We do that, right? Okay, now.
The mess up is risky.
Now the sisters, y'all ain't got that problem. That's probably why Allah don't even have y'all lead the prayer. Y'all wouldn't have, y'all got different temperament. Okay, but anyway. So you got congregational prayer and you got the individual prayer.
Right.
Now suppose congregational prayer time came, but I didn't know what time the adhan was going to be called. Because what time the adhan is going to be called is not in the Quran or the Sunnah. I mean, it's the time of the day. That's not there. So suppose I'm coming for congregational prayer and you're coming for congregational prayer. And we didn't follow these rules. I mean, suppose, you were going to make your prayer and it's 3 or 4 of y'all. And there's another group that come in, 3 or 4 you got. Now let me ask you a question. Technically speaking, I'm asking this question, I don't know, technically speaking, could 3 or 4 people lead congregational prayer, Brother Emmanuel, over there in that section, and 3 or 4 people lead congregational prayer over there in this section at the same time?
Yeah, that happened.
Now, let me ask you a question. Who can question the sincerity? Here's group 1. Group 2. They both coming in for congregational prayer. They both got procedures, they got structure, they got organization, they got leadership. Who can question the sincerity of group one or group two? Because they all got beliefs, they all got faith, they all doing the same thing, but for some reason they're not working together. That's our problem. Our problem is we haven't decided whether or not we're a congregation. That's really the question. Are we a congregation?
Okay.
We have to answer these questions because this is what's causing. Why is this question so significant? Why is this so big?
Okay.
Because we're sitting here right now having shura.
Right.
And Imam said in the khutbah that the shura depends on the group intellect. It depends on the group intellect, right? So if this is group one, this is group two, I got 3 or 4 people over here having prayer. I'm surprised. I didn't know that even happened, but I mean, I was just making it up on the top of my head. 3 or 4 people over here and 3 or 4 people over here. This is a group intellect, and this is a group intellect. If they never talk to one another,
There you go.
then this particular group intellect don't get the benefit of their intellectual capacity that is inherent in both groups.
Exactly.
So now think about this nationally. Let's multiply this. We've got masjids all over the country. We've got schools all over the country. We've got Muslims living all over the country that identify with what you call the community of Imam W. Muhammad. Which, by the way, there are different labels for trying to explain
That's right.
what you're talking about.
Right.
The community of Imam W. Muhammad.
Right.
The association of Imam W. Muhammad.
Right.
Students of Imam W. Supporters of Imam W. Muhammad. Because we don't have
Business group and all that.
words that put us on the same page to try to explain this commonality that we're trying to form with one another. Why is it important to determine whether you're going to say congregational salat or individual salat? It's fundamental to the very process of salat itself. Whether you're going to say congregational or individual salat. I'm sorry, I got carried away. I got carried away.
All right. Very powerful point, brother. Right on top.
Well, I got it from listening to the group intellect. Sorry, Tom, I'm coming around to stop the eating, man.
There ain't nothing to see up here. No, brother, everybody needs to get up there and get a piece.
That's right. I'm so used to Ramadan, brother. I don't really get hungry till sunset.
Now I used to tell my little neighbor kid that was whining. I said, get over it. Picked up any ones and That's it. And the curiosities. I ain't call no names. I don't wait. Remember I was telling you about Sarah? It's just a small sampling of what you really got tomorrow.
I didn't know when he was gonna let us take a break.
I'm glad it's the experience to say your community.
Brother. I'll be faithful.
I'm just stay down right now. Apparently was thinking, I'm down in South Carolina, North Carolina, now I'm thinking on East Coast time. So, but I'm trying to straighten out right now, okay? So, yeah, the head of that, huh? Well, we're gonna start at 5. But just know that what I'm gonna do is set up that call, that, the other number you're gonna call. Okay, and then call in that number, but, so, what time is 5 here?
It's at, I think it's 5.
Let's say we're gonna be about 5, 8, what did I say, we're gonna do Salah.
No, let me tell you exactly.
Make it about, all right. No problem.
Thomas, I got no cash on me. I gotta pay you back.
Go ahead, guys.
I have in the cash.
Yeah, these are traveling white man.
where I'm staying, I don't know if I'm gonna
That's
stay.
it, 523 is
Well, I
not.
got two. When we leave here, let's go buy our stuff.
I gotta go by Walmart, buy something to get some.
No, 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 go by my office.
You're on 95.
What kind of thing?
That's what they had to talk about.
Stop by me.
At the day then?
The people stayed there, they had a big conference there. And, National Muslim Business Council conference.
The one at Fort Bragg, Wade? That one?
Was that a difference? You was at the Marriott.
I wasn't at the days then.
No, you was at the Marriott, but people stayed at the Marriott, you said all the hotels out, there's a lot of hotels out. And we had to be like, so we had a big crowd, in May for the conference. In Charlotte, yeah, in Charlotte, last time we was in Los Angeles,
What you gotta
California.
do with this man?
For the Muslim, business company?
Yeah.
December,
You never, you
December
never,
99.
I am, but I didn't know it was in California.
yeah, it was in California last year. Los Angeles. The AKS on it. We had a school, you know, new school at Dillon. Now, this year we're going to,
Someone took a literature class.
you know, they got the, they just purchased a new national.
Literary character, Walter Mitty.
But next year, the next one?
Walter Mitty.
It's really the same, you know, we used to do CBC conference.
It's a
It's the same.
novel.
Do y'all want to
Mitty
pick up?
is
Schedule
a
people,
do.
give them different seminars. The same concept.
Right.
May I have permission to pick up,
That's
Robert?
what the man when you first trying
May I
to
have
have that.
permission to pick up?
But it just comes on
Good
the.
ask for people.
Yeah.
Good ask for people.
And that's why.
Get right away.
Dina, can I, I'm
tried
sorry,
to happen to travel.
So,
can I,
makes these grand.
can I finish, because I was trying to get to your point, can I finish this for a second?
Oh, absolutely.
So you mentioned that the imam, we got the imam knowledge. We had his teaching for over 30 years. We got the history of the Nation of Islam behind us, world history, Islamic history, the Quran, the Hadith, the Sunnah. And by the way, I mention world history because I hear people say sometimes, well, it took them this many years to get something done. But the people that come afterward, they have the benefit of the people who came before them. The people who,
Everybody have a meal? Yeah.
yes, sir, I think that's it.
That's it? Think y'all might want some more fish after this?
Never get there, bro.
You meant that, so you never can tell. So
I'm
you
just,
said you never can tell. That's
I'm
what
looking
you're
at, I'm just looking at the buffet. That's what I'm looking at.
So, but the people who are the pioneers, they didn't have the benefit of all that history to go off of. So if we got a lot to go off of, in addition to all the sources you mentioned. So here you got an example of group one and group two. Two groups of people coming in for congregational prayer, having prayer in the same musalla. They have a different group of people making up that group. They know the procedure, they know the salat, they're sincere, they know the structure, they know the organization, they got the knowledge. The problem is that there's a human relation element problem going on here that is outside of, that human relation element is preventing this group and this group from realizing, hey, wait a minute, guys, you know what? The prayer's in, we're in the same musalla. Maybe we could get together and make prayer together. So that seems to be the question. The question seems to be coming about is, and this is why the question is so important. The larger the group intellect, the larger the capacity for thinking. The larger the group intellect, the larger the capacity for thinking. It simply means if we had more people with more skills, more knowledge, and more abilities working together, you would expect decisions and you would expect support and you would expect solutions and problem solving to be leveraged that much more than if you had fewer people. So the issue inside of our community that is on the minds, I believe, of the common believer, we're seeing it as evidence by the results you see inside this notebook. The question that is on a lot of people's minds and on their hearts is, what should we do as a community after having almost 82 years of collective community economics, of having collective empowerment to be able to make a macro effect on a society? We did that as a community, not one match kit. One match kit does not have the capacity to do what this community can do together. It's just impossible. No matter how effective that master is, internally, in terms of its organization structure, whatever, it cannot have the macro capacity effect that we can have as a community. The question becomes then, how can we as a community, first of all, have we decided that we want to be a congregation together? That question has not been answered yet. And in fact, the answers that we're getting from leaders, they're saying no. They're saying, you can't have any kind of connecting national relationship. However, if you look at things, we do have connecting national relationships, but it's only for certain groups. They're not allowing the people to decide how they're going to connect nationally.
You know, we've heard the Imam Muhammad say many times, there are a lot of imams that don't follow him. Right? You heard that, right? You heard the Imam say, not a lot of imams follow him. They didn't follow him, but him being around was strong enough glue to keep them from staying so far. Now that glue is gone. And there's nothing to bring them together. I look at these two groups here. What they have in common is each one has an imam.
Right.
They don't go and lead themselves. They get together in groups and select one to lead. Those imams are not in concert, right? So because the imams are not in concert, they have two separate slots in the same master.
Right.
That is happening outside the match. That's the reality of what's happening around the country. You have all these different groups that have an imam that is not together. You know, if those imams would get together, then they would bring a sufficient enough membership with them to make a difference. But they're both of them might have national aspirations, whatever that means. And so they trying to be important on their own. Wise on their own. So they're in conflict with each other. Maybe one is selling more CDs than the other. Or get invited to more events than the other. So them coming together towards what purpose? And different things come into play. So we don't have that cohesiveness throughout the country because many of them didn't really follow the Imam Muhammad, but they were bold enough to go out there and say they don't follow him. You know what I mean? And so right now there's nothing causing them to come together to that. You know. So that's
There's
just
a question about that. Because ultimately, we all have the same imam, which is Prophet Muhammad, with someone. And unless the unlikely event happens that both of those groups started doing Salat at exactly the same time, the people who come to do Salat will join on to the congregation that had started first. And I'm just saying that to say that, yeah, I see what you're saying about the imams, but if we're actually following Prophet Muhammad, then we wouldn't have that problem.
There you go.
But when I look at that scenario actually occurred inside these four walls.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
You follow?
Yeah, I've seen it, not here, but not
No,
only.
I'm at the same salat at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen that, right? So that right there, and both sides independently said they're following the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet.
Well, they may believe that, but something has to
I
be
know
true.
they're not, but they say they are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they believe that. You know, I have a question about some of the premises that we're working with. One of them is that, in essence, we have a lot of people to work with. And my study of history is that most things that are accomplished in history are accomplished by small groups of people.
That's right, like
By
this right
small
here.
groups of people who are dedicated to that. And then
Right
that
here.
goes, to the whole idea
The
of
whole
progress.
country.
Progress, well, where are we headed? You know, I like that Richard Pryor title, Which Way Is Up?
Oh, that's a bad
You know,
design.
Which, you know, where are we headed? We keep saying progress, but where are we headed? What's progress?
Right.
So, you know, I just want to, you know, raise questions about the premises involved.
I'd like to go back to something about this group intellect. And it was E-Man who introduced me to that term. I had a lot of management at different levels in college, but I never really truly understood how powerful the group intellect was until I heard E-Man talk and refer us to certain areas in the Quran. But this group intellect thing is so powerful. That's why Shura
That's it. That's
is,
the answer.
we don't really understand the power. If we understood the power of it, we would be, I made a statement one time, we should be worried more about perfecting the process of Shura
That's right.
than affecting its outcome.
There you go.
We should be more concerned about perfecting the process
That's right.
of Shura instead of affecting its outcome. And what I mean by that, I make a little joke sometimes when I do workshops. Imams, they go home and they hold Shura, maybe with their wife, and then they come back to the masjid and they go, this is what we're going to do. And people say, well, how did you come up with that? Did you hold Shura? Sure, I talked about it. This is what we're fitting to do. Those two words, Shura and fitna. Now, I'm making a little joke there, but the point is, the man didn't understand that he needed to expand
Right.
the group intellect
Right.
so that he would have the benefit of making the best decisions.
That's right.
And so the community can also have a say-so in its affairs.
Absolutely.
Now think about this group intellect is composed of individuals and is composed of masjids or institutions. It's composed of both individual people, but it's also composed of masjids and institutions. Now, why is it important for us, well, for many of us, some people don't think it's important. I think it's important.
Right.
I think it's important to try to expand this group intellect as large as possible.
Absolutely.
Why? Sometimes, if you notice, if you look at the United States of America, a county can institute a program, and when the rest of the counties in the country hear about it, and they go and study it, and it's working,
It's got, yeah.
they will implement that countywide in that county. Next county, next thing you know, the state's hearing about it. Next thing you know, it becomes legislation in all states. Why? And what has just happened? What has happened is the group has benefited from an idea over here.
Exactly.
Now, vice versa. Vice versa. What else happens? There's a reciprocal relationship. That county can also benefit from what's happening nationally.
Right.
So here you are, here's your masjid. Here's your masjid here. And your masjid has what I call a definite group intellect. We just call it DGI. It's got a definite group intellect.
Okay.
You ain't got but so many resources inside that institution.
Right.
And unless you do some cloning or some serious dawah, you're not going to change those resources overnight. Whatever you have is what you have in terms of doctors, lawyers, business people, whatever you got. That's the mix of talent you have inside your institution. But now, if that masjid belonged to a larger group intellect,
And it really, in reality, it does.
it does.
That's right.
The problem is it doesn't have access to it.
Yeah. They don't believe they can.
They don't have access to it. So here's this masjid. Now, what about this? What if somebody inside this masjid is brilliant in a particular area or concern? Shouldn't the larger community have the benefit of that person's
Absolutely.
expertise, abilities, and skills?
There you go.
That's why we need to work together more collaboratively.
Now, we're recording this?
I don't know. But I won't forget about it. I won't forget about it. But the point I'm trying to make is, we could overnight.
Last time I asked you, you said it wasn't on there.
And what's making us so, what's making us so frustrated is that we've been given this huge task called remake the world. There is nowhere in the world, well, you can. In order to remake the world, if you're really serious about it, Atlanta can't do it. Charlotte can't do it. Fayetteville can't do it. It has to be, what I mean by remake the world, if you're serious about making a mega, macro impact, on society, both nationally and internationally, because you know what gets on me? It concerns me, I just heard on the PBS, the Rohingya group, I think it is, in Burma, Myanmar.
Yeah, Burma.
A Muslim population there is being, they call it genocide. The people are suffering from Buddhist oppression, and they're being put into slavery instead of being taken where they were supposed to be taken. They have to make it their family, they're extorting their families for money. Just one example. I'm gonna come back home. We got a teenage pregnancy problem. We got a crime problem. We got a super age problem. We got a black on black crime problem. We got all kinds of problems right in our own neighborhood, our own association, right? How are we gonna remake the world facing mega problems like that? When a lot of times, if you're working together, how did we as a community in this country make Elijah Muhammad the most powerful black man in America? Did one mosque do it?
Yep.
No. I mean, one mosque didn't do it.
Right.
It was the community that did it. So now the question becomes, Bina has asked the question, why can't we work together? Why?
That's the example.
The answer is we can work together, but we're fearful. We are afraid of something that has held us back now for more than 30-something years. And that fear is that they're going to take everything. That if we work together, somehow the courts, FBI, government, somebody's going to come and all our assets are going to be at stake and we're going to lose everything. So what has been driving, I submit to you, I'm going to say it,
Don't say it.
my address not on here, so I'm going to say it. I'm going to submit to you that the biggest thing that's been driving our strategic vision has been fear and not opportunity. It's been fear and not opportunity. We are afraid of what could happen rather than saying, what can we accomplish if we work together?
Some of us.
Right.
I think most of us.
Yeah, maybe most of us, not all.
Well, we don't understand what safeguards we need to put in place
Yes.
so that what we think might happen won't happen. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I got a call, remember, probably around, maybe about two years ago. I was talking with my sheriff. And they were having problems with a building in Chicago that they had to pay real estate tax on. That's what who owns the building. And they said, okay, if the nonprofit owns the building, you should be tax exempt. Now, the way you get tax exempt is you have to use that building for your exempt purposes. Then they won't charge you property tax on it.
That's knowledge.
Now, what worried me was, why I got to tell them? You understand? Why I got to be one to tell them that? That's what's scary.
And that's
Now,
the
let-
point.
By the way, I'm not making this up. Y'all realize that.
No, we understand.
I got all this from y'all know who.
I know.
Because he said we needed to establish decades ago.
Yeah.
Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
We never did it. It depended on the
Some of us-
demands
some
to
of
do
us.
it. But as a community,
Yeah.
we never established, well, we were close to it. In fact, I gotta give this man credit who's sitting right here. I'm glad he's here.
Who's that?
Because
Who's that?
David Hassan,
You talking about him?
yeah.
You can't be
David
talking about him.
Hassan was one of the,
Oh, no.
was one of the,
Oh, no.
was one of the,
Don't say that on the radio.
was one of the leaders. And
And everyone, as it would be, Assalamu alaikum. Martha Nyla Williams Abdullah here. And I must say, I am in a situation here where my phone is going down. And anyone wanting to make comments now, please, by all means, acknowledge, and we will end right here. We pray that what we're, CWSC in its collaboration in forming alliances, in our willingness to form alliances, trying to get more here on the screen. Yes, all right. 50 years ahead, 50 stays strong, forming alliances. This is our, for next week, continuing, inshallah, as organizational leaders get comfortable with knowing what CWSC strategic planning is about. 50 stays strong. And we mentioned today earlier about CPR. CPR for the cardiopulmonary resuscitative system, process rather. There's also a process for when we get frustrated, aggravated, angry to mad, that we can apply CPR, care or compassion, purposefulness, of being purposeful in our direct approach to where there's anger, frustration, and aggravation. And the R will be respect, CPR, compassion, purposefulness, and respect. And that way, we all are approaching what we do with the intent to seek to create seek to cause no harm, and that is maintaining the peace. As we spoke about, our law enforcement chief of police was at our interfaith group this morning on the discussion about open carry, and he let us know we are citizens. We elect law officials who create and legislate the law. Then the law enforcers are on his end. They do not discuss what the law means other than how to carry it out. So we then began to see ourselves, the citizens, being the asset here that is the general asset of the United States. And so seek to cause no harm is both a medical law, it has been imparted as such, and it is also a human law. Seek to cause no harm, maintain the peace. So any comments by anyone, please, by all means, raise your hand, just open your mic and come on in. As I said, we're going to end right here because I don't want, I don't have the phone connection to keep going.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank Allah. And you?
Oh, praise be to Allah. I am well and thankful, out and about here in St. Petersburg. I was at the South Branch Library earlier and started there with our presentation.
I'm enjoying everything. Just wanted to give the greetings. That's all. I saw the clip there that you offered, and alhamdulillah. So just wanted to give the greetings. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And you be safe there, Imam. I'm being driven by the city bus, so I'm not driving. All right. Assalamu alaikum. There we go. Okay, everyone. Thank a lot. And tonight, Intimate Stranger with Edward Willis at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time, followed by 8 p.m. with Michael Hameen, and he presents. Michael Hameen comes with Not Just Talk, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific Coast Time. Return. Thank you very kindly. This has been CWSC Strategic Planning on Organizational Relationships. God's peace be upon you.